I want to show you how you're able to use the power of these virtual labs, and we can have a Windows 10 machine, and you don't even have to have Windows 10 installed on your system at all. We've got a virtual one. Now, I talk about in my face-to-face class and in some of these lectures, I talk about the fact that we can set up our own box and run Hyper-V. And we can do just about anything we want when it comes to Hyper-V. But let's say you don't have a Windows 10 system accessible to you. Now, a lot of people don't want you playing with their computer, so let's assume you're stuck with a Win 7, Win 8, whatever it may be. And now you want to be able to do some of these labs and do these installs and do things in a virtual environment. Now, I've logged into the course, and right now I'm in the Unit 4 Graded Items section. Now, understand that you can go in and play in these labs and reset them, because what happens is these labs do not have a persistent state. If you go in and do work, when you log out, what you did is now gone. So you need to go in and do your work, complete it, and then submit it. And I'll show you here in a second. So let's go, for instance, we're going to click on this Practice Lab 4-1 in the graded section of Unit 4. So here we go. I'm in there, and I've got, they've still got an issue here where it's saying that the name of the activity is undefined. It's not being passed correctly. But we'll go ahead and start the assignment now. And this is Managing File System Security and Auditing. Okay. They have a lab configured for us. Here's our network lab. And they've got directions for us, step by step, what they want us to do. Now, does that mean we necessarily are limited to what they want us to do? Absolutely not. Now, this PLAB DC01, that happens to be a domain controller. And if we come down the list, we've got another server, and this third system down, PLAB, it's a Win 10 box. Here's an 8.1 box and a Win 7 box. Now, what operating system does this course focus on? Win 10. So what if I want to go play with a Win 10 box? I'm going to click on that Win 10 box, and I want to power it on, and it'll tell me it's busy. It's busy starting up. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn off that domain controller for now, because I don't need to deal with that. All I want to focus with is this Windows 10 virtual machine. So my Windows 10 virtual machine is technically starting up. And here we go. It's getting close. It's logging in. And this is just like me starting up a Win 10 environment on my desktop, my actual machine. It just so happens this is a virtual machine. Okay. Now I don't want console, my internet access, notifications. So here we go. We've got this Win 10. Let me go ahead and see if I can spread that thing out. Stretch this across to minimize it. Now I've got a little bigger screen to play with. And I can come down to the bottom corner, get into the Start menu, and here's all the tools that I need in a Win 10 system. Click for search. I've got Cortana. I can talk to Cortana, do what I need to. I can, let's come in here. And one of the things, if you've heard my other videos or the other lectures that I've done, you know there's certain things that I like to utilize, and one is the control panel. I type in control, and there it goes. It found the control panel for me. I click it, system and security, network and internet, hardware, sound. There's all the standard things in the control panel, and I can go access those things. So what I'm getting at, if you've got labs that you want to practice with, you want to do things, you want to get used to Win 10, you can go do those things here on this virtual machine. I can shut down the control panel. I can actually come in here and let's see, it's add or remove Windows. There it is. Turn Windows features on off. I'll go check that. I'll wait for it to populate. And I want to turn on Hyper-V. I'll go ahead and acknowledge it. It's going to allow me to install Hyper-V. And now I can have another virtual machine existing on this virtual machine. Why would I want to do that? I'll go ahead and restart this now, and I'll show you. It's going to go ahead and connect for me. All right. I want to reconnect. Power on. I don't want to reset. Refresh it, see what it does. Let's see if it lets me go ahead and keep my Hyper-V install. Now it's establishing a connection to my Win 10 box. Hopefully when this thing comes back up, I'll have Hyper-V available to me. And I usually do have to go through and do a restart to enable some of these services. It just depends on which ones we're dealing with and the resources associated with that service. So we'll come down to Cortana, hit Hyper. Apparently it did not turn it on. We'll go back in there again, see what it does, and it says it's there. I say okay. Come on, Cortana, show me some Hyper-V. There we go, Hyper-V Manager. So now we've got Hyper-V. Now, it created a Win 10 virtual machine for me, and we can go through. Oh, it says we've got no virtual machines on here. So I can go through and create new virtual machine. Just go through the motions. Call it whatever we want to call it. I'll make it a Gen 2. Keep going. Keep going. And we'll keep going. And I'll need an ISO. So I'd have to browse, go find an ISO. And I can share a ISO for you that'll let you use or do what you need to do. Okay, now this drive, we've got local drive, there's a DVD. That's, I wonder what they've got going on in here. I can get you an ISO. We can just go point to that ISO and go from there. Okay. So depending on what we've got going on, we can load another ISO, or we can go create, install the operating system later. Next, let's go ahead and finish it. So here's my virtual machine. Go start this virtual machine. And at this point, we'll need some kind of media to start this thing up. So it doesn't have, it's just a blank machine. It doesn't have an OS installed on it. We try to connect on it, but it won't boot up for us. So it'd run into some errors. Here we go. Then we go check the UEFI, and it says no UEFI was found. No operating system was loaded. Press any key. So it's just like a hard disk that's trying to start without the OS. Okay. So we can go ahead and I'll give you an ISO that we can use later on, or you can use a DVD, point on out to it. But that's all we're missing was the image that we need to go do our boot. So this is a great way for us to virtually go do an install. I go load Linux on here if I wanted to, Kali and Ubuntu. I just do Gen 1. And this allows us to have that virtual environment go play with Hyper-V. Okay, now I need to right click on this thing and I need to shut it down, make sure it's shut down. It says it's got a problem shutting it down. I'll go ahead and turn it off. And turn it off. There we go. Could shut it down because it wasn't actually running, it was trying to run. So we just powered it off. Make sure you always shut off and shut down these virtual machines before you exit out. So I'll go ahead and log out of Hyper-V, and there's my desktop. I can go in, play with the resources. That'll help us get used to, at least in the first couple chapters, get used to navigating and looking at the different resources within Windows 10. Now, this thing, I can go totally trash this Win10 machine and have no impact on this lab because all I have to do is reset it, and it takes it back to the original state. We're fine. There I go. I reset it. Continue. You sure you want to do that? Absolutely. Boom. Now, it's not until you're done with the lab itself, the grading part of the lab, that you go in and click Done. All right? Now, one of the things you need to be careful about is you're going to go through. You've got 5 different tabs that you've got to deal with. Each one's got direction, and you'll have to create some, or probably capture some screenshots along the way. And if we come down to the bottom, let's go look at the next one. Come to the bottom, step by step, what to do, where to do it. And then we move right along. We get to page 3, or the third phase of it. Come down to the bottom, more stuff to do. And they'll reference which one, and we may have to start up different machines along the way. If we go to the next one, step 4, configuring system auditing. We'll come on down, step by step. Now let's hit next. Covered all the activities. As long as you did everything you needed to do, you hit done. That will then send your grade over to Blackboard. Now, some of these, like I was saying, it'll say we're going to do a screen capture. It depends on the course, depends on the lab. Some have it, they don't all have it. Now, once you've clicked done, it's not just a matter of clicking done. Over here, you'll see a power button, a reset button, which resets the whole thing, and this last one, log out. Make sure that not only do you click done, but the next thing you do when you're done completing these labs is click log out. Because I have seen at times you click done and then shut the thing down and it doesn't send the data over. Log out in some instances is required to send data over. All right? So that's a great utility for us, and it's something, a little workaround it. You want to be able to access Windows 10 and play with it from home, but you don't have a device that has Windows 10 installed on it, we can go play with those. So there's a number of labs. That one I just showed you in Unit 4, great resource for us. All right, see you in the next.